I didn't print all of it, but this
This
is,
is-
this
these-
is the, yeah,
Right.
this is your.
I think I know how to see the pledge of allegiance.
That's all right.
All right,
Okay,
finally, huh?
I know. We're cleaning up things one step at a time.
Well, I mean, it's finally we got some level
Kevin, this has
ground.
been a process, of changes, and we're trying, like, we hope the last piece of the puzzle that we have to put together so that things can function smoothly going forward, right? So, we had some staff that had, walked out and resigned, and so we were trying to get, we had
Thank you.
timely things like pilot bills that had to go out, and the Paris report and things like that that had to get done. And then we kind of maybe moved a little bit
I know. It's
hastily, I guess, a little bit on getting, getting us to this point. So, but hopefully we're hoping that this is the final piece of the puzzle that we can get things moving smoothly again. So, yeah,
No, the guy emailed it to me.
Should,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean,
This
we
is
can
the
get
price.
more, but that's just want everybody to have it.
it's for the computer.
Hey, Frank, did you see
Okay.
this at all? Pretty good, Hannah?
I just saw it now.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay.
Stand for the
Okay,
pledge,
guys,
please.
stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Talk around this morning.
I told him to.
I know you let Kevin.
Yeah, we were talking while you guys were in.
Okay, public hearings, there are none as of right now, Paul, right?
I'm sorry?
We have no public hearings right now
No,
today?
none. And if you want to bring up those 3 projects again, I'll do that again for you.
Yep, okay. Lisa, can you please call the roll?
Okay. Member Gitzoni? Is he?
Absent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Member Lee Master?
Here.
Member McNichol?
Absent as well.
Member Reno?
Here.
Member Ruda?
Here.
Chair Fadoli?
Here.
Oh,
I'm here also.
Member Tadar?
Are you here, Dino?
Frank Fedaro here.
Mr. Getsoni's he's here at the front door waving in.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's Hi, out. Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, that door should be left
You
open.
copy, you have a copy of the agenda, Kevin? Okay.
There you go. That was nice. Okay, we'll just wait a second for Grant to come in.
No, I'm not gonna.
Hey, Grant, how you doing? This fan is blowing on the paperwork.
You want something to hold it down?
I got this paper here. Thanks, Grant.
All right, second.
Good. Okay, can I get a motion to accept the meeting, the previous minutes of the previous meeting, please?
So, still under the question
Still
on
under.
that, Lisa did send me a revised copy of the minutes on March 13th. I did not see that in our packet. I'm not sure if they're in compliance, and I think
Okay.
that our,
Okay,
Should
so
we
then
just
let's,
wait? Is
right,
that-
we'll wait on that then?
Okay.
Okay, we'll put that off again. Okay, Lisa, can you let us know, can you forward those to the board,
They're on
please?
the website already. I have to post them within 2 weeks. So that's why you get them ahead of time. I can't wait till the meeting after to do the changes.
so the issue is, I don't know, I don't have the legal expertise to know if the meeting minutes are now in compliance. We're about to hire a
Okay.
legal counsel.
Can we ask legal counsel here, Kevin, to take a look at the minutes that were from our previous meeting and make sure that they're in compliance as far as what we provide in them?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's kind of a strange request probably, but we had just a couple of questions that we had before. Okay. Okay.
On that same note, we still don't have the biller for the town and county. And the bylaws state that the secretary of the board is supposed to do the minutes. So
Okay.
going forward, I would think that that would fall on you because I am gonna do the billing.
Again, we'll have to check with legal counsel and
Yeah.
look and
I
see
think we need
what
that
our bylaws
clarified.
say. My impression of the secretarial position as I was designated is that I oversee what you do. Not
See,
that
the
I do.
bylaws
So
don't say
we
that.
will have the advice of counsel, and he will lead us in the right direction.
Okay, all right.
So are the February minutes going or no?
No, we're gonna table those. Well, we're not gonna accept them because we don't know if they're in compliance.
Well, the other attorney, okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right, communications, will we enter into communications the letter from,
Oh, the
You have to take
presentation
a
of
vote on
oh, vote on that,
tabling
I'm
them?
sorry, yep, go ahead. I need a motion to
So
table it.
I will motion to table the minutes
Okay,
of
motion by
February
member
11th.
Ruda.
February 17th.
Second by member Tadaro. Lisa, the roll, please.
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Member McNichol? Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Chair Fidoli?
Yes. Okay, now we can move on.
Presentation of financial statement.
Yes, that's Mike is here.
Thank you. I sent out the financial report earlier in the week, just to go over some just a brief overview. We had the vouchers that were approved last month were paid, and then some receipts that came in, agency fee from Glauber, as well as partial from the callbacks from National Grid on Cemetery Road. Salvatore's and the AC Power were all deposited during this period. We have some pending vouchers listed. All of them are either below the threshold or have received prior approval by resolution of the board. There's a couple vouchers that still need Member Tadaro's approval today. And then I'll have checks available for Chairman to sign.
I did see these.
So the total bank balance currently is $1,385,976.09. So adjusted for those vouchers that are going to be paid, which are $42,005. So the adjusted book balance would be $1,343,971.09.
What was it for?
I've also received today another check, which I'll be depositing the balance of the GS Grid project for $63,375. So you'll see that on the next statement. Couple other items I just wanted to review. I'm all set up with JP Morgan Chase with the online access to the bank statements and all the bank account information, as well as remote deposit processing. So I'll be able to deposit this check right from my office without taking the time of having to mail it in. The parish report was filed on time with the assistance of Drescher and Malecki on March 31st, and they've also issued their financial statements for last year, which I did forward to you electronically. They're looking to attend the next meeting on May 13th, and they would just need to know what time you would like them to be here.
They can come right, they will come right to the board meeting. It starts at
4 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, I'll advise them to be here at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
They wanted to present at this meeting, I know that, because when we talked last week or so, but ultimately with everything we had and to appoint our legal counsel, I just thought it was better that if we had them come in May.
Sure, and I made them aware, and they're fine with that, so.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Go- Kevin?
Yeah, I just had the one check for Dave Brown. What was that for? Was he assisting again somewhere, or?
Yeah, there are some consulting fees.
I don't have it either.
Actually have them here with me.
Yeah, no, you already approved.
So he had listed 4 different items, replying to an email from Ms. Braun regarding Stop and Shop refunds. I had reached out to him regarding some payment of invoices and approval when I had first started, as well as Mr. Fidoli also asked me to forward him a copy of the financial statement, so that's a part of his fees is for reviewing them and providing comments, and then some questions about the parish reports.
Yeah, I didn't see it. He had a copy of it. I didn't see it until now. He found it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, any other questions?
You mentioned, excuse me, there was a $40-some thousand payment you just mentioned?
Yeah, from Ralph Larigo, attorney, $63,375. It's 75% of the GS Grid project. I believe
Okay.
the remaining
Is there
balance.
any more payments for me to sign?
No, just these.
Just those two? Okay. Clear.
Yeah, just a deposit.
Clear, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, one other thing, are we up to date on all of our pilots, or are we still?
One of the pilot accounts went to the town, and they paid that. I had a couple questions, so I reached out to Pam. I haven't gotten an answer yet. I just emailed her earlier today, so that's fine. The other ones, we sent them a second bill with the penalties on there. But
Okay, so that everybody, all the paperwork's out, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Motion to
Mike.
approve the financial statement as provided?
Motion by Member Ruda, second by Member Reno. Lisa, can we have the roll, please?
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fedoli?
Yes. Okay, I have to apologize that I'm kind of flying blind here because I don't have all of the agenda in front of me. So I'm going to move on. Correct me if I'm wrong, on this unfinished business, appoint Dave Manjoya to complete the implant studies. I thought that we addressed this already. Did we not pass this resolution before?
We didn't say we were gonna pay him.
Okay, so this is just a part of that?
Yeah, it's just a motion to make sure so that when he sends a bill in, Mike can pay it.
He actually gives the bill to me.
Okay.
Because I take the application to him to do the implement. After I get the attorney's opinion that it's legal, I then go to David and him and I do the implant
Right, okay,
study.
right.
And then that's after he does the implant study, then he gives me a bill.
Okay, so so all we're approving here is that the
The amount.
complete the implant study, the fee. Okay, can I get a motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Member Reno.
I'll second.
Second by Member Tadaro. Lisa, can we have the roll, please?
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fedoli?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Did we send $1,000 to MRB to do that? To do the implant studies?
We
now?
already got the program.
Oh, we already have, but did we send $1,000 then? That's the initiation fee, if you would, remember? $1,000 for the one-time fee?
Yeah, they haven't invoiced us for anything.
Okay, all right, I have to check with David then.
Can you check with that,
Okay,
Paul, please?
I'll take care of that.
I emailed the company already. I'm waiting for a response. They
There you
said
go.
they were paid already, and I don't have a record of it.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, then the next order of business is to appoint general counsel, legal counsel. We have him here in front of us, Kevin Tanner. So I need a motion to appoint.
I'll make that motion. Under the resolution, I would like to make a couple of amendments that under the 5th statement, now therefore be it resolved, it'll be that Hurwitz and Fine be appointed as general counsel and Hurwitz and Fine be appointed as transactional counsel to the Lancaster Industrial Development Agency for the remainder of the 2022 calendar year, with the legal fees to be paid in accordance with, and this is the change, the April 8th proposal included in the Hurwitz and Fine packet. So the proposal for the transactional fee and the proposal for their fee structure is different than what we have currently on our fee structure for the Lida board. So this would put us in compliance into what they are offering for their services. The same change would happen for the next statement, that where it says such services shall be performed at the rate dollars per hour. I would like to change that to in accordance with the fee schedule included in the April 8th proposal, included in the Hurwitz and Fine packet.
Okay?
So are we changing our fee schedule?
We have
Yeah.
to upgrade, yes, we have to update the website.
Yes.
Because the website the numbers don't line up. So we have to update.
So who's working on
to
that?
match.
Kevin will.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Member Ruda. I'll second. Second by Member Tadaro. Lisa, can we have the roll, please?
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member McNichol? Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fedoli?
Yes. Congratulations, Kevin. Welcome aboard. This has been,
I'd like to say publicly, I want to congratulate the governance committee, okay? They did a really good job. They did a nice deep dive, and I think that we've hired a really good counsel for this board. So I'd like to
Stealing my,
congratulate the-
you're stealing my thunder there, David. I was going to say the same thing. I think that the committee, we met a couple times, Lynn and Frank, and I actually went on vacation on around April 1st, so they kind of shouldered the load for the last couple of weeks. We went round and round text and some things, but I appreciate the help on this. And Kevin, if you'd like to say a couple words?
Sure. First of all, we really appreciate the confidence that the board has expressed by appointing us as council. Really looking forward to working with all of you in this coming year and hopefully beyond.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving along, we have the resolution here for the Premier Dog Sports Center facility. Again, I don't have the resolution in front of me, so I'm flying with just the outline here. Anybody have any questions on this? No.
This is one we tabled.
Right, any questions?
Last week, no questions.
Okay, motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by member Reno, second by member Lee Master. Lisa, can we have the roll, please?
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes,
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fidoli?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just make a comment regarding the Premier Dog Sports. Just to get you all excited, even today, there's over 300 people attending some type of dog show at the Premier Center today. Just to let you know that there's 300 people coming into Lancaster that are doing things in Lancaster.
Good, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Okay, new business. The Lida membership in New York State Economic Development Council. We need any questions on that?
There's different memberships,
Okay,
so I wasn't sure, I don't know if you want to.
That's the one that we recommended. We used to use Carl Calabrese at that one time. and
Is that our line?
paying-
Is that the-
You remember that, $500 a month?
Yep.
This is only, and they do the same exact thing. It's out of Albany, you know, all the other agencies. Every single IDA uses them, and it's for $800, and that's a yearly price. That's it. And I recommend that we pay the $800 for the one-time fee, and they send us all the stationery and everything else they go. And Kevin, probably you can talk to that better than I do, because all the other agencies use it, and they attend all the, it's worth the $800.
yeah, I know that we talked this, we discussed this in the past, and Kevin, obviously you weren't here about how the state is constantly trying to eliminate the IDAs, so I think we felt as a board that it was a worthy expense to have somebody try, representing us in Albany, so I certainly, I don't have a problem with this.
Many IDAs are members of the ECR firms. So we participate in those events that they have. It is really helpful to have that, see the IDA level, someone that ears to the ground as to what's happening.
Right.
And it's really educational too. So, they'll drop out emails regularly. I mean, I did them once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Just things that are going on. And the most recent thing that was passed was the change to the meeting law. So, it was a video conferencing that came to the budget that was passed. So it's something we can talk about in more detail.
What's the current status, I guess, of that legislation? Is it Assemblyman or Senator Ryan that's proposing?
There's a lot of bills.
Okay,
So,
that are trying to,
yeah, I mean, there are regularly bills presented that would impact IDA.
Right.
Many of them are, I guess, negative from that
Right,
standpoint.
yeah.
There are others out there that are, more positive and, once in a while you see these things move. But, right now,
Right now.
the most recent thing that really changed the meeting.
They do any version of Day on the Hills? For IDAs, do any Day on the Hills where they go and visit as a pack group or no? Do the IDAs ever do a Day on the Hill at Albany where they go and visit individual members?
Well, I don't know for sure. You're talking about the Eagle
Yeah.
Lodging group?
Yep.
I mean, they certainly have events out there. There's something happening about a month that a lot of ID folks will be going to.
Right.
It's,
I saw the one at the Neville, yeah.
yeah.
No, not the Neville.
here, go Grant.
No,
There's the big meeting, Grant, that they have in Cooperstown. And all the IDAs throughout the whole state of New York, and everybody else goes there. State of New York, everybody goes.
there's a second one they were holding in Albany that I saw that showed up in my
Yeah.
feeds. Desmond.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, now this one here, again, I don't have it in front of me, the duties of an admin, secretary, biller.
Hold on, sorry, you need to take a motion if you're gonna have me spend the money for the, you have to do a motion if you're gonna join that, and then,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yep, I jumped the gun again. So we need a motion to,
For the $800?
yes. for the
Annual
fee.
membership?
Annual membership, yes. Motion by member Tadaro.
Second.
Second by member Gazzoni. Pizza roll, please.
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fidoli?
Yes. Okay, duties of admin secretary biller for the remainder of it. Mike, this is what we spoke about yesterday.
No, I think this is separate from the pilot issue, I think.
Okay, what is, Lisa, what is this pertaining to?
That is for me to do the billing for right now there is no one. So I'm getting all the calls and all the notices and Pam pushes everything on me.
Is this for the village or for?
This is for the town.
The town.
Town and county. We don't have one right now.
I thought we resolved this with you. I thought that you were doing this for the town and county with Dave Brown when we first started,
Right. But Dave isn't doing anything with the late fees.
right?
Or anything like that.
Okay.
So technically, that would fall on Mike. And I have all the files here.
Right.
In the town, so I'm doing them. I'm not looking for more money. We
Right.
had this
Right.
discussion.
Yeah, and I guess I thought that maybe, and again, it could be just that I didn't understand it, I thought that encompassed everything, like sending the bills out and then handling.
Yeah, but the
things.
calculations for next year. You don't have anybody now. Unless you're looking at somebody in the town to do it. I reached out to the assessor and they won't do it.
Who did it before?
Dave Brown and Pam.
Pam was the one that was doing it, that was included in what
She got,
we were paying her for.
correct.
Right. So
So
why is
wouldn't it
that
carry
not,
over
right,
to-
yeah, why is that not Mike doing it going forward? And
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't,
not
I'm
sure,
guessing,
like, I don't know what the issue is in regards to, like, if someone doesn't pay their bill, I mean, as an example, in the village, we would have pilot bills calculated and sent to me in a spreadsheet, and then we would prepare our own bills. And then if someone didn't pay a pilot bill, myself as the village, I mean, this is our income, so I would be the one doing the follow-up. So,
Right.
like, for the town and county, I mean, maybe because Dave and Pam worked in that role for the town, they always did the follow-up.
Right.
Right now, I don't have any access to those original calculations, to those original bills. I have no way to follow up.
Okay, sure.
If you want me to be that person to follow up, I would need some
Our files
information
over
to
there.
do that.
okay, so, I'm trying to think, should we just send them over to you, Mike?
Is that in the scope
Is that-
of what you should?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
that
my
would-
question, I guess, is this the scope of what the previous and
Right.
Pam had done?
Well, I think, like, earlier this year, I'm aware there that Dave Brown was hired as a consultant to do the pilot calculations for the town and county, and then there was the billing administrator position to do billing for all of the, I think it's specifically the town and county.
Right.
So I guess I don't know where that gap is, what we're missing. And if is that something that should be done on the IDA side, or is that a follow-up on the town side, that if they aren't getting their money, should the town be following up?
Kevin,
Was this the calculation, is it the
Yeah, I guess I'm
calculations
confused
there?
as-
that-
I think these are unpaid bills.
right?
Right,
Some of them are unpaid, some have a balance owed.
Okay,
okay, but the calculations were made, we know how much they owe?
Correct.
Right.
Okay, we've got that.
Right, like, if there might be an issue for next year, but I mean, we can bridge that when.
Right,
Right.
and that's where I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
It's not the calculations that are the problem.
It's just following up
Dave
on
following up and
follow-up.
getting the money out of them. Okay.
okay,
So
so,
Lisa, if I may, and Michael, do you have you talked between each other and decided, or maybe come up with something that might solve this problem?
We did have a conversation, but I think the last was that you were gonna talk to Pam, and I don't know.
Well, that's on the one, the way the conversation is going is right now, we don't have anybody to address the town and county. All of your pilots are kept here in the town hall. You do not want to start separating them and having some go to the village
Right.
and some stay here. They should all be centrally located.
right,
If you have your own office or something and you want to lock them there and he can come over and work off them, that's fine. But right now, we don't have anybody to do the town and county. I'm doing it, but my position the person I replaced didn't do this. They only received the money in and gave it to Pam. I'm now doing above and beyond, which I'm not complaining, but in addition to the minutes and the agendas and everything else, that's a lot of work. And there's a lot of calculations, and if you're thinking in next year, I don't know who will and won't be here, myself included, I think you really should have somebody set aside to do this all the time, and not this, you do it this year, you do it next year, you're gonna do it the year after. I don't think that's a good idea, because I don't know what Pam did. Some of her things were terminated, some weren't. Bills were created that didn't need to be. So it's, right now, we're just working on 6 projects that have money outstanding.
Okay,
I have
so.
a question, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. Originally, whatever happens, okay, whenever we close, okay, the attorney sends the pilot schedule to the assessor. The assessor then bills the pilot. Now, I'm confused as to who's doing what now, only because I'm led to believe that the assessor gets a copy of the pilot, okay?
Yeah.
Does she bill the pilot?
No.
Or she can't bill it? That's my question. I
Right.
don't know that.
Go ahead.
She doesn't,
Under the
she just
question-
gets a copy of it.
That's right.
Right.
Just take it off the rolls.
That's what she does.
Right.
To me, it makes sense that this issue should be placed in committee, so I would make a motion to place this topic in
Okay,
the
yeah,
audit
but we
and
need to,
finance.
I guess the problem is, how do we solve the immediate, there's 6 bills you said that are outstanding?
The pilot biller, your stipend should cover,
I don't do calculations.
But it's just, isn't it just a follow-up with, the bills have been calculated, right?
Is
There's
that,
a calculation, then there's penalties and fees. I am going in there and calculating in their agreement based on the percentage their agreement says they
Okay.
should be charged.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. The person before me did not do that.
Okay,
So I'm doing that in addition to everything else. And it may seem like it's just a simple send 6 bills out, but that's not what it is. Because I have to contact the tax office. Did they pay you? Are these projects terminated? Are they active? Do we keep them on the roll? I mean, that's what Pam was getting paid to keep track of.
my understanding was that was why we raised the stipend of that position as you
Well, I think you're
requested.
incorrect, because the girl before me got a stipend as well. And she didn't do any of this.
I don't know if we're worried about the person before you.
But I'm
right, I thought, right, I
saying
thought we
I
increased
didn't.
your stipend to handle this, though, to do the billing and stuff that wasn't previously done by the secretary.
But I did that because Dave isn't here. So I did get it all out.
Right. So isn't this part of that job?
That's where we don't know, because Pam, like Mike was saying, Pam, it's the town's tax money. And
Right.
Pam is saying we need to send the bill. And I'm just basing it off of what I think it is. And now we're sending payments out, and I'm hoping I'm calculating them based on the agreement.
Okay, Kim.
Let me interrupt. Pam would do the collections of the pilot. And then if they didn't, 'cause she used to call me, and then I would do, follow up and say, hey, you didn't pay your pilot.
Right.
But it was Pam that was collecting the pilot at that time.
Okay.
And now she's not doing that anymore.
Right.
But it was Pam that was collecting the pilot.
Okay.
But
then
she had 2. She was part of the town.
Right.
And the,
Right, okay, so I get that. So
ahead.
technically, it's going to fall on Mike's duties at some point, but he wasn't involved in this billing. So I'm having a hard time just trying to dump it onto Mike and say, okay, do this when you had nothing to do with.
Yeah, and
with-
I'd be
right.
happy, but I would need information, I mean.
Right. Let me ask you this, Lisa. Do you have the information that you could provide to Mike, and between the two of you, come up with it and bill it, and then you bill it out?
I've already sent the first batch out.
Okay.
The first 6.
Right, okay. So are there any more?
Not for the town and county right now.
Okay, so,
Yeah, so it might make sense to have like that committee we were talking about for.
Yeah, to outline the duties.
Village pilots and then the school
right,
pilots coming up.
yeah,
later in the year.
right. So we need to handle that. So those 6 bills are out, though, so we don't have to do anything at this point with those. We just, obviously, if they pay them, then
Right,
everything.
I don't know, do we keep going? And I don't know.
Okay, so I guess to solve the immediate issue, and well, there isn't an immediate issue because they're sent out already, but if they don't pay, then ultimately, I would imagine, Mike, that you would have to probably review the calculations.
Yeah, I need copies of the bills, copies of the pilots, and contact information for the properties.
And then maybe Mike can help you with that, and then you could send them out again? Does that resolve the issue for now?
You can come in and meet with her.
Yeah,
But in the long term, we need to be clear.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying, right.
defining
Obviously,
who
it's
does
something we
what.
need to clean up before
have to look at
we
it,
move
right.
forward, because unfortunately, and Mike, I know you kind of came in to the process late, but when everybody, and Kevin, I guess to bring you up to speed as well, we had the staff that just walked out, and the pilot bills went out late, and we didn't have anybody to do them, so what I did was I reached out to Dave Brown, who used to be, he was at the town for 35 years. He was the administrator of finance when I was supervisor. And Dave worked with Lida, got the calculations done, and we got him out, right? So ultimately, because we were operating without a CFO at the time, right? We were in the process of trying to hire somebody, and then we ended up getting Mike to come on board as the CFO. So ultimately, we have to try to make sure that all these duties are outlined, because it's a different structure than what it was in the past. Because obviously, I'm not town supervisor anymore. Mike works over at the village, so we're not all located here centrally at the building, which is, I think, creating this. And as Lynn stated, I think that we should have a committee meeting to address this so that we can get it moving forward. And then ultimately, Mike, give you an answer as well for the village
So,
and then the school.
does it make sense to place it in audit and finance?
Okay.
Frank, we'll do that.
Mike, do you need calculations from the town for anything? Does the school need any kind of
So-
calculations?
Hold on a second.
We can-
Hold on. I don't want anybody talking at once. What were you saying, David?
No, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I said to Frank that the finance should look at it. I agree with.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So I'll make a motion to place that topic.
Hold on one second, Lisa. Were you asking?
Yeah, I don't know, do you need any calculations from the town for the billing that you have coming up in June?
I've talked to Dave Brown and walked through what would be needed, so if there were calculations would still be needed, I could do that if that's what the board wants me to do. But that'll be settled in the.
Okay.
And also on the non-pay issues, Paul has offered to keep knocking on those doors.
Okay.
For us, because he has, yes, so if we can
I
include.
mean, I have the list here, like, for instance, I made a call to Salvatore, and he got aggravated with me because he said, well, my bank is supposed to pay that. Well, I don't know that.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Somebody has records someplace.
That's fine.
Right, okay.
And Grant, you're right, I make those phone calls, but after that, then I'm stymied.
All right, that's just as long as you're willing to knock on doors too. We're
Okay,
good.
so
Okay.
you have a motion?
So for the third time, I'll make
Yes.
a motion to place this topic into the Audit and Finance Committee
Committee, okay,
for
second.
immediate attention.
I will second that.
Second by Member Reno. Lisa on the roll, please.
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fadoli?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Lynn. Okay, new projects, Paul?
Okay, there's 3 new projects. I believe that Lee sent some applications out, but I'm talking just to Kevin, our new attorney, we have agreed not to do this on the May board meeting. We will do it in June, and he will prepare the public hearing, the resolutions and everything, and I'll read the 3 projects to you right away, and if anybody has any questions, I promised you that I would tell you all projects before we even went forward, and we have not gone forward, and once after today's meeting, I will have Lee send copies of the application to Kevin, so that when Kevin comes back to me, he said, okay, Paul, it's legal to do all 3 projects, we will move forward. So everything will be done legally, and you'll be aware of everything, and the public hearings on these 3 projects will not happen until June, because we're late, because we have to do a 10-day thing, and we have to do the penny sale. The first project is if everybody remembers, Robert James Sales, which was Bowden LLC, is putting up they put up a 100,000 square foot warehouse. They are now putting up another 50,000 square warehouse on Pavement in Walden, and everybody knows what they do. They distribute to 7 different locations throughout the United States, all types of stainless steel pipe. And the project is a large amount, which Kevin will do the inducement, and so on and so forth. So I would recommend that we move forward on the Robert James application to go forward. Does anybody have any questions about Robert James Sales? It's a 50,000 square foot warehouse.
So
I'd be happy to address any questions on that one.
if I could just ask about the process, now that we have an attorney in place, This is the first time any of the board members are hearing about this.
You know, I
project.
can't hear you. You gotta talk a little louder for me, okay?
Yeah, so this is, I'm just asking about the process of, like, I
Sure.
like to read through and see, and I know that there's certain points that these projects are supposed to hit on their proposals, right? We need to be looking at the jobs that are coming in and et cetera. Like, how should the process work moving forward so that we're in understanding of what the projects are and what benefits are going to be coming to the
Well,
community?
because we do the implant study, we do everything for you before Kevin actually gets it. Okay? I introduce them to him and tell them what the fees are gonna be, a 1% agency fee, the $500 application fee. That's all done by what we do here. And then once we get the application, I then send it over to make sure that what I have is legal. And then Kevin will look at that and say, okay, Paul, go ahead. And then he will do the public hearing notice and the inducement resolution. After that, it's all his, because he meets with their attorneys and goes from there. The fees and everything are, you pay a quarter, 1% at the initial approval, and then after that, the 3/4 of 1%, that fee is collected along with his fee when he closes the project.
So trying to, again, just wrap my head around the schedule. You have a business that's interested, you work with Kevin to see that the business it's a legal
Kevin
option?
doesn't work with me until I actually get the
Implant.
application.
Okay, which includes the implant study. It goes to you, then it comes to the board to review, and we
Right.
decide if we want to move forward. And then the next month, we would have a public hearing and approve, is that, just, again, we haven't really had a good flow of how it should work yet.
Well, so if I can address the board on just generally how, I've seen this done in the past.
Sure.
I'm really curious how you want to do it. I think what Paul's referring to is that he is the interface first with the applicant. And we have an application process here. The applicant is supposed to fill out the application. Part of what I can do for the agency is, and I think this is what we're suggesting, is to vet the application with Paul, right?
Yep.
So there's some things that we may never bring to the board, excuse me, because it doesn't fit for whatever reason. Paul, I think, would report out to that saying, hey, we have an application for this particular project, but we can't provide benefits to Walmart, right? For example, right. That kind of thing. If it goes through that process and the application is complete, it's really up to the board as to how they want to approach it. And the question is do you go forward with a public hearing without board approval, which can be done, statute allows that, which is I think what Paul is suggesting, or do you want Paul to give you a presentation on it, which I think he's doing here,
Yep.
and then asking for a motion to proceed with the public hearing? I think member Lida's question here is how much information will we have before we can raise our hand to address that question?
Right.
And I think that's a matter of how you guys want to approach that. I don't want to impose any type of requirements. That's really a question of how the board wants to process that particular process. There are IDAs that will tell the staff, you can go and schedule your public hearings. We'll be at the public hearing, right? And that's how functionally Amherst does it. Their board members actually participate in the public hearing. That's how they're educated on the project, because the person who is presenting on the project from the company comes in and you can ask
Right.
questions.
And Paul, haven't we essentially
And
done that?
all these companies will be here.
Right, and I think we essentially have done that in the past, right?
I've done it for 40 years.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
That's
I
exactly
think-
what we do. What
right,
Kevin
yeah.
is telling you is you see the project before you do your approval. It's done, what I
Right.
do, it's done legally. You're only basing it on the fact of, number one, what's the pilot going to be? They're going to get sales tax, which is automatically.
Right.
The mortgage recorded tax is automatic. It's the pilot is really what do we do? Well, because of the new UTEP, it's 5, 7, 10. And then Kevin and I will discuss that before he brings it to you, before he does the public hearing.
Right, and then at the public hearing is when the board gets informed of the, well, not of the project, but the details of the project.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Part of that can be something as simple as a project summary. One page, right? I know, I'll refer back to my experience with the Amherst group. They generate a project profile, which hits the high points.
Right.
It just says, here's the eligibility issue.
Who prepares that for them,
Your
Kevin?
staff does.
Okay,
Yeah,
we don't have staff here, so.
I know, and you have a different issue because
Right.
you have different sets of resources. But I think that valid question as to how you educate the board to understand enough of the high points.
Right?
So-
Is that something, Kevin, that you could provide us?
That's the public hearing.
No, I mean, what he's
You're
talking
talking
about.
about
A summary.
So you're talking about like
Yeah,
a
but-
project summary.
When you get the project, I also present you with the implant study also at the same time. It shows you all the benefits and everything else.
Right.
That's done previously before you get it.
Right.
You now, she just sent you a copy of the application, just for you people to review.
Right.
Now it goes to him, after I've done my work.
Right.
He comes back and tells me, it's good to go.
Right, I understand that
Right.
part, Paul. What I'm saying is, and I think, and Lynn, correct me if I'm wrong, what Lynn is saying is that a summary of the project, other than the application, is there something that we can provide?
Hearing, it's a public hearing.
No, I'm saying like electronically, a one-page
They want to
summary, right, of the project itself.
I don't think it really,
So-
because everything's gonna be done in a public hearing.
Right, well, that's what I think, but
But-
Lynn is.
Yeah, you're right.
The public hearing's gonna have, because you're gonna have them here explaining it in detail, we get to ask them questions, and if there's anybody in the public
Right.
that has anything to say,
Right.
they will have
Okay.
their turn.
Is that
to say
sufficient?
it.
You're-
Yeah,
you're-
it
you're
makes
absolutely
sense.
right.
That makes sense.
Okay, all right. Then,
So we
okay,
really
then
don't
we're-
need anything.
Everything is done at the public hearing.
Right, no, I understand
Right.
that, I understand that. I didn't know what Lynn was asking.
Yeah, I
thought
just
she
want to
wanted more
understand the whole
information
process from
prior
beginning to
to
end.
it. Okay.
Public hearing covers all
Gotcha.
of that.
Well, that's right, I
So
understand.
I'm clear, do you guys want a copy of the application like you got today?
Yes, that we
Before
should.
it goes to the attorney?
Yeah, you can send it to
Well,
us.
he's-
No,
so
no,
we can-
no, hold
we can
on, no,
review
wait
it.
a second, no. I don't think, I think that will muddy the water, right?
Right.
Because if he's going to reject it, we're gonna end up with a lot of
Right.
useless stuff, right?
Okay.
So I think it's better if it goes to, that you put your blessing on it first, Kevin, and then we make sure.
At the last board meeting, there was a couple board members that wanted copies of the.
No, I
That's why we
right.
just did it now.
But I
If you don't
think-
want me to do it, that's fine.
No, I think what I'm trying to say is going forward, I mean, Paul, because you've been doing this for 40 years, you know before, I mean, probably 95% of the stuff you send to Kevin, you already know whether he's gonna say yes or no, right? So you send that stuff on to us based on that already.
Okay.
So I think we're okay with that. I think what we're trying, what I don't wanna have happen is you start slinging stuff at us that is not gonna get accepted, and then we end up with all this useless information and 42 emails and only 2 projects are good, 40 are junk that we gotta sift through.
And what
Right.
would I do is before, I also then inform the company that the public hearing is gonna be set at such and such a date, let's say now in June,
Right,
okay?
yeah.
They will be here.
Yes, no,
Okay,
wait,
so
right.
now then you do the public hearing, and then after the public hearing, we convene the IDA to approve the project.
Right.
But the public hearing is the time that you start asking questions.
Right, I understand.
And they'll be here.
Right, okay, all right.
But you won't have, you don't want the application now beforehand.
Only if it's a project that we think is going to get through. I don't want the board, because they're all new board members, I don't want them to get bombarded with projects that are junk or that are gonna get rejected, right? So that's all I don't wanna have happen, like I don't,
Chairman, I reject just about.
okay, and that's, I know that,
I
Paul.
reject right away.
I'm just trying to clarify.
Okay.
So that we don't end up with stuff, so yes, just, if you think a project is gonna get rejected, like if it's like a
You won't
dead
see it.
end arrival, don't send it to us.
You won't
Okay?
see it.
All right,
Okay.
that's all.
All right, that's,
Thank you, Paul. All right.
that's Robert
Yes.
James Sales, okay? So that's a 50,000 square foot, it's about $7 million and everything else. I will then have Lee send the copies of these 3 applications when we're done, when I got 2 more to do.
Yep.
And then that'll go to Kevin, and Kevin comes back to me and says, okay, Paul, they're legally done. I will then go and start the implant study.
Yep.
And do everything else that has to be done, okay?
Okay, all right.
Now, the second one is we're quite excited about this one. It's a manufacturer that's in the city of Buffalo, and we have to do what we call an intermunicipal move
Yep.
letter. Kevin will address, and he'll address it to the mayor of the city of Buffalo. He has no authority of any, just, we let him know, 1352 Genesee Street will be moving to a 38,000 square foot building on Commerce Parkway, right next door to where Derek is, okay? Casilla is gonna be the developer. It's approximately anywhere $5 to $6 million project, and it's going to be, I'll read it to you. Construction of a new 38,000 square foot manufacturing facility with DKM Sales as a primary tenant, moving to a new and efficient manufacturing facility will allow DKM Sales to increase its DKM Sales prints and manufactures specially printed products for various customers, and it's nationwide.
Okay.
So this is another manufacturer that Kevin will get the application. I've got the $500 check for the public hearing all done. That's ready to go. Kevin will get this application.
Okay, and Kevin, that letter comes from you, or does it come from me? The one that's got to go to the city of Buffalo?
I think that comes from the chair of the executive director.
Okay,
It has to come from you.
Right, okay.
He writes it,
you'll prepare the letter, and then I sign it, and, okay, that's what I thought.
and then you send it to the mayor, but he has no authority.
Yeah, I know he can't reject it, it's just it's a process, it's part of the process.
And the process
Has
is,
to be
what
done.
I've already done is, in this application, one of the things that the mayor is gonna ask, did they look at other sites? And in the application, I made them put in the different 4 or 5 different sites that they looked at in the city of Buffalo and in other parts of Erie County, and it's part of the application,
Yep.
okay? So that's already done.
Okay.
So everything legally is done, I just need his blessings.
Okay. All
Okay?
right. Good.
Now, the last one, okay, this is the one that, I'm gonna need Kevin big time on this one, okay? This is James Lewis, this is the property on the corner of Bone and on Broadway, okay? This application is here, it's a big project, and let me tell you what it is, okay? The project consists of an 18,090 square foot, 2-story mixed-use building, which makes it eligible, with drive-through window and hotel-style extended stay lodging units, including 2 first-floor accessible units. The commercially zoned parcel is the location of the former Desiderios restaurant. It's right on the corner. There was a fire there. It's vacant right now. So being that it's an adapted, a mixed-use building, it's eligible. And what I did is I pulled 2 public hearing notices from the Amherst IDA and the Hamburg IDA, and they're doing identical. And like, for instance, you're probably doing one now. In Amherst, it's like a 260-some unit apartment building and so on. So the other IDAs are doing this, and I just want to let you know, that's the one that just has a little hair to it, if you would, and I'm going to need Kevin to tell me to go forward with this project.
Okay.
And then, and it's located right on Bowen and Broadway. First floor is 95,000 square feet of commercial retail space, including a coffee shop with drive-through. The second story is 6 to 8 apartment units, but it's not a hotel, which
Right.
is what I read in the paper.
Right.
So
Right.
now, after today's meeting, I will have Lee send all 3 applications to Kevin.
Right.
Kevin will come back to me and say, okay, they're all legal. I will then do the implant study. After the implant study, I will then prepare it, and he'll do the public hearing notice and the inducement. And that'll be in June, because that's what we just
Yep,
agreed to.
yep.
So, and then you will have all that information along with the company's share.
Okay.
So those 3 are brand-new projects.
Okay.
And the other one, I just talked to Dan Rowan from Derrick and Jennifer Strong, who's our old attorney. They're getting ready to close that one, and that's for $17 million. And that's the one where we agreed to not a 1% agency, but 3/4, and we got the letter from Ron Rufino. So that's all done. And your fund balance is getting up there quite a bit. So, and I looked at Grant a little bit, because Grant asked me, and I had a meeting with Grant for about an hour, and he's talking about doing other things. The other thing is, did we ever, I know it's all part of this, but did we ever discuss, or how can we do the mayor's request, the village of mayor with his band thing?
Village of Depew.
Did you want to bring that up?
Village of
Maybe Kevin's here, and he can answer that question.
I don't have the information in front of me. Do you
Okay.
want to, do you have it there, Paul?
No, somebody, it was just a letter, he wants us to do what he does.
It was a
Go
donation.
ahead.
It was
Go
a
ahead.
donation from Mayor Peterson from the village.
Yeah,
of
that's
Depew.
that's the band thing that he does in the
They're
summertime.
looking for additional funds. We were willing to donate to them so they can have more bands for their,
So there's summer
Veteran
series, there's summer series that they
for
hold
their summer
each year.
concert series.
So I don't think he can really give us counsel until he sees what the request is.
Yeah. Paul, do you have a copy of that letter still?
Someplace, yeah.
Okay, can you get that to Kevin, please?
Pardon me?
Can you get that to Kevin?
Yeah, I'll make sure.
Okay.
Somebody probably has it, but I'll make
Right.
sure I get it.
Okay.
You probably have it too, don't you?
I have to check it, but I don't
Yeah,
have it.
it's a.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I understand what it is, but Kevin, before Kevin can say, okay, whether it's not something we can do, he needs to see a copy of it, that's all.
And
I know
then-
we've done things like that before. I remember when I was here, we have done things like this before, but I just wanted,
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
You should be. The only thing is, I got a call from Mr. Tarawa and saying that there was a water bill that went out to 27 Walter Winter Drive and it came to the Lancaster IDA. well, I went and I got a copy of it, and I hand carried the bill to AVOC, which is the company that's out there. It's that old Scott Aviation, whatever. I hand carried it, and they handed it right over, and you won't get it anymore, Frank.
Okay.
So you're done. So it's, I
Just pay
hand
that other bill from the email, Frank.
And two other ones is we're still talking a plastic tube on up at Gunville, and we're also still, it drives me out of my mind, is Gunther Burkhardt, his 80 acres there on Broadway across the street from it. So the Lancaster IDA, as small as it is probably busier than any other IDA along with Amherst. Am I right, Kevin? We're doing a lot more projects than the East IDA. Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other one is I called you regarding, I guess, Mr. Polencar's, regarding the Bliss Hotel on Fremont. Remember, Joanna Coleman was the supervisor, and he was going to sue us if we did that project.
Yeah.
It's an $11 million brand new, where they demoed the old motel and whatever. I guess in talking, some attorney called me, Steve Bankert, called me and said, Mr. Polencar says no objection to that. So I put a phone call into Paul Bliss, which I haven't got an answer yet, and I'm waiting for, it'll be a brand new hotel on those, where Russell Salvatore's is and all those other ones.
Right next to the throughway.
Exactly right.
Yep. Okay.
And it's an old, and the police used to be going there, and it's
Yep,
adaptive
I
reuse and
remember.
so on. So it's an $11 million whatever, but I don't have the application
Okay.
yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
And I might ask you to come with me when we have the meeting.
Yeah, let me know.
But I will make sure that Kevin's aware of it, so he gets all the legal stuff done
All right,
first.
sounds good.
I'm sorry to talk that much.
That's okay. That's
We're
all right.
busier in hell, so.
We're informed. That's okay.
Jen Strong asked that I bring up if the board still wants her to work on the open cases that she has.
Yes, we talked about this back in the work session, but I'll bring it up here. I responded to an email telling her yes. So if you could just draft a letter from me.
Okay.
And I'll, and send it to her that she can complete the.
Want to do a motion and
I don't think you need that. Just have her draft the
just
letter.
tell her okay?
Yeah. So just have her draft the letter from me that says that, yes, the board is giving permission to,
3 projects.
the
Do we know,
projects.
is she already paid for all of these, or do we have to?
No, she probably hasn't because they haven't closed. So,
Okay.
right. But that's part of it. I mean, that's part of the agreement that we have with her, so she'll get
Okay.
paid for them.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, does the board want the new attorney to work on the currently, we think they need to be closed pilots? We're not sure if they've been closed or not, and some are,
Probably
there's
have to take a
different
look at that,
attorneys.
Kevin.
That's a question I have. It's a question I have. I've been in the office looking through the files there that were there, just trying to get myself accustomed to what's going on in that, and the files are, in my opinion, and I'm not an attorney, and I didn't work in an office, but they were atrocious. And we don't know what projects, where they are, if everybody's up to date. I just went through a lot of the original, what I would consider original paperwork that I would like to look at to see. One particular person, individual, whatever corporation, he has 4 files. I just happened to go through. Right now, there's 75 files in there, and they're just in boxes. And to me, it was, I walked in on my own to try to figure out what's going on, and let's kind of get an idea and get my feet wet. And would
Kevin,
that
I
be
think-
something that could be gone through and double checked?
Yeah, and I think, Kevin, this goes to the whole transition that took place in January with the people walking out. There were boxes of stuff that were just dropped in Lisa's office and left there. There was no explanation, no nothing. So I certainly think it would make sense for you to review them, and because we don't know what's in there necessarily. And like I said, we didn't get any cooperation from the previous board. It was a long, drawn-out thing, but at the end of the day, they dropped a bunch of boxes at the town attorney's office and just kind of left them there, and we're not sure what's in there, Kevin. That's what Kevin is referring to. So I think it does make sense for you to take a look at them and make sure that there's nothing that needs to be cleaned up, so that, and
We
if they're
currently
old.
have a list. We got it from our assessor, and Pam also worked on it. She was helpful that way. She confirmed that some of these pilots should have been closed or should be closed, and we can't determine if it ever went through the full process with the attorneys that were here previously. So we want to get them so that they're being billed the right way. If it should be the town, then it should get closed so that it goes back on their rules. And we have,
Jennifer.
You're talking about terminating the project.
Correct.
Correct.
yes,
I mean, the typical way you do that, depending on how the process was set up, if these were lease-back transactions, we're just gonna file termination to the lease. And that's how you get back on the roll. But the process, actually, most towns will know, right?
Right.
The pilot is expired, and they'll get it back on the rolls. I know that that's how it is in Amherst. Like,
Right.
some of those lease terminations don't always go on record right away, because you have to chase the company down for them.
well, I've spoken with her, and she said she can't remove them until she gets the deed from the attorney, that it's been transferred.
Let me tell you what's, Kevin, let me tell you what's happened. Patty Strong, who is the paralegal for Jennifer Strong, is her mother. She has been working on conveying titles back to those companies. The assessor sent them, and Pam sent them. She's got all the files of the ones that the title should be. So maybe have your paralegal call Patty Strong, not Jennifer, and she's the one that's been working on conveying title back. Okay?
I have a
So that should solve that problem
Yep,
right away.
okay.
Yeah, that's a different type of work,
Right.
right? You can know exactly when the pilots are burning off, and then you've got to get your termination.
It's a conveying title
So sale leaseback
Right,
is
yep.
conveying title back to the company. I don't know that that's built like older deals.
Right.
I mean, most-
They are.
Most IDA deals are leaseback deals, so you don't
And
have that.
Jennifer Strong did agree that she would not charge the companies to convey title back.
Okay,
So this is no, and no fee to us either.
okay.
And to further this, just one more, the reason I'd like these files to be cleaned up as we were, because what we're planning on doing or trying to do for the public is we're gonna put a computer system in, that anything that can be made public, somebody can access it from home, so we don't have to come in and look at files. If somebody's got a question on one of our projects that we've got here in front of us, we'd like it clean so that whoever inputs it into the computer, from that date forward, all of our projects are up there for the public to see. So that's our,
There's some requirements under the statute that would say that you have to have some project documents on the website.
right, and
Project log. There's other things that are part of your closing, standard closing binder, and there's like you have 30 documents, separate documents. You don't have to post every single one of the documents. That's not a requirement. But I think that that's a different issue.
It's DPM sales.
How are they maintained? Is it administration?
okay.
I can certainly look at what you have.
Yeah, we-
It won't be hard for me to eyeball this.
Okay. All right.
Super,
good.
thank you.
Yeah, now are those
More
the three?
questions or no?
I have something.
These are mine.
Okay.
Remember I gave you three?
I stamped them all draft, because I didn't know.
Okay,
You want me to give you mine and you?
I'll give them back to you.
buddy?
okay, Paul, all right, you all done, Paul?
Are you guys all?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, I just,
All right.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. I just gave my 3 files on those 3 new projects to Lee, and she's going to get them over to Kevin.
Okay.
So that I can get the legal opinion to start the work on those 3.
Okay.
But we're talking about June, not May.
Yep.
Based on your direction.
Yep, okay, go ahead, Lynn.
so under the question on, I know that we tabled the motion for the February minutes, but there was nothing about the March minutes. To approve those minutes from the last meeting, and in those minutes, we had several tabled issues. I just want to make sure we're not losing track of the issues that we're tabling, because I don't see them under unfinished business. So we had tabled 3 sales tax extensions, we tabled the appointment of assistant to the secretary, I believe, and then the Depew letter. So
Okay.
I wasn't sure how we want to move forward, so that we're keeping track of all of these issues, and what we need to do with the March minutes.
Okay, so, let's tackle them one at a time, I guess, all right? So, the minutes we never approved the minutes from the March meeting. We
And that
tabled-
didn't even get onto the agenda.
Right, okay. So how do we add that back? We gotta get that onto the next agenda then, so we can clean that up. So, we tabled the minutes from the last meeting, so we need to put that on the May agenda, so that we can clean that up. Obviously, we have to figure out if there's any mistakes on it as well, or if there's anything that,
Are you
right?
saying to approve the March weren't on the agenda today?
We didn't do anything with the March.
No, the February, well, you're saying February
I'm
to
saying
March.
March. February was on there, we tabled.
Right, that's what I'm saying, we never but we just tabled March's minutes today. But you're saying the February minutes are still out there that need to be,
I thought,
On this, I did put February 11th, 17th, and March.
okay, so all three.
Are
The-
listed.
The things that get tabled in the minutes, how do they get rolled over into the next agenda? And who, like, do you set the agenda?
I don't know.
So, and I'm not sure if that really falls on the secretary to set the agenda for the whole board. So I guess that's a question too, because I don't necessarily know that that's Lisa's responsibility, that she
I
should
know
be.
Jen used to tell me, here's what needs to be on. I created it,
Right.
she gave
Right.
me.
Yeah, so I think we just need to figure out how that's gonna work, because we only receive the board packet, we receive it less than 24 hours ahead of the meeting. So, you know, many of us work full-time jobs, and trying to get caught up so that we're prepared for a meeting is very challenging right now. And then, and this is not against Lisa, things are getting missed and lost. So somehow for the next meeting, we need to make sure whoever sets the agenda knows that they're setting it, and that we have all the things that have been missed over since the beginning of the year kind of get put to the unfinished business. So how will that?
Is that something, Kevin, that you prepare for Amherst? You do the agenda or no? Where does it come from?
That's generated by staff up there, and in most of the entities, the agendas are generated by staff.
Okay.
Like, once in a while, I mean, for some of my other economic development clients, they'll send me a proposed agenda in advance and say, hey, is there anything else we might be missing?
Right.
That has been the
Okay.
extent of my role.
So where, Lisa, where have the agendas been coming from now, up until now?
Jen.
From Jen? Okay. So, yeah, because I know, like I said, I don't prepare the actual agenda, so.
On the question, the board has an enormous bank account, okay? And I don't see why there should not be a staff member or two hired to start handling
But that's
the
a whole,
secretary.
yeah, but that's a whole, you're getting into a whole different employment issue.
I understand.
Workers' comp you gotta do. I mean,
Mr. Chairman, I understand
Right.
that, but the board needs to grow a little, I think, okay? This is, just as the XO said, this is one of the busiest boards in the
Right.
county. And if we're having trouble with information, and I understand that we're at a start up here, but it appears that we should have a little bit more help. And staffing is not, I think it should be looked at seriously by this board, okay? And as the mayor said, these are all, most of the people sitting on this board are volunteers with other things to do. And to serve this public properly, okay, I think it's be very advantageous to have a staff that you can assure that they're going to put this stuff up, okay? And if we're not, we need to find quickly, as Member Ruda said, the public, the citizens owe a proper approach to this. And don't be afraid to spend some money to deliver what we need to do, okay? And I would just say, just take that into consideration and
David, so that you know, IDAs are very, very restrictive as to what they can do with their funds. So you got to be careful as to what you want to do or how you're going to do it. I'm
Right, but you- I mean,
not
you can
addressing
appoint
your
staff,
question,
obviously,
but
because the
IDAs are
IDA
very, very restrictive as how they can use their funds.
And I'm-
They can't touch it for anything.
No, I get that, Paul, but there...
Just very, and it would have to be, you'd have to, whatever you bring up, you'd have to have Kevin go back to the state of New York, to the IDA council, and find out how and what and where you can use your funds.
Well, I would ask him, how does
Right,
Amherst,
does
how
it.
does Amherst do that?
ECID
Yeah, but
does it.
Amherst doesn't, go ahead.
What's that? Right, so,
Yeah, I mean, there is no controversy as to whether.
right, and for staffing, right.
Yeah, for staff.
I just think that's a bigger issue to get into at
You're
this
right.
point, just to just throw it out there and say, okay, we're gonna hire staff, because that, you know,
Well, I said, my point was we should look into it.
right.
Okay?
I mean, it's certainly.
As an alternative, okay? Because we do need to deliver.
Well, I understand that, but as of right now, nothing is not getting delivered. In other words, that we're saying, I mean, I understand technical stuff that you're saying, Lynn, but pilots are not getting, the companies are getting tax abatements, companies are developing, all that stuff is still happening. The process of the IDA is happening. Behind the scenes is what you're talking about. So the public is still getting what they're expecting from the IDA board. What you're saying is to bringing in a full-time staff, or even part-time, I guess, is a possibility, but that's a big difference, because you have, like I said, then there's the employment laws, then there's HR issues, there's all kinds of stuff that you don't just hire a person and say, okay, here you go, and throw them out there and let them do that. It's a little bit more complicated than just hiring somebody and,
I agree.
The fund balance for the Erie County IDA is between 18 and 19 million dollars, and it stays there. They don't use it for other than the attorneys will tell them whether or not it's legal.
So I think that, I'm not saying I'm against the issue.
Right.
I'm saying it probably goes beyond the scope. Probably a committee should sit down and address it, and then the committee should also look into what it's gonna cost. Because, again, I know from myself being an employer, you pay somebody $20 an hour, it costs you $60 an hour. You know what I mean? It's not just that simple. So I just think that that's something that the board, certainly we can address it. I don't think just throwing it out there, don't saying, okay, let's just do it, because there's a lot more to it, I think, than most understand that don't run a business or don't have a business.
It feels right now a little bit like a house of cards, that, we're on a little bit of shaky ground. I would assume, as the chairperson, then you would set the agenda, vet it through Kevin, get it to Lisa so she can type it out as you see fit to run the meeting.
Right, sure, I mean, that's not a problem, right?
Okay. And then if it seems like it's not working, we can,
Yeah.
we just,
The
I don't
only
want,
reason I didn't put the tabled stuff on today was because I wasn't sure if you guys were gonna address it, because some of it was tabled because we didn't have counsel here, and that was.
Lisa, can you get me the copy of the bylaws that the part you
Yeah.
seem to read, that's Lynn's responsibility to do the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to take a look at that, please. And then I'll run it with you, Kevin, as well, and we'll find out exactly what has to be done, and we can clean that
and who
up.
does what, yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah, you could look at the bylaw.
What you're working your way through is basic blocking and tackling.
what's that?
A lot of what you're doing here is basic blocking and tackling.
Yes.
Right.
Figure out how to reorganize.
Right, yeah, it's been a bit of a difference,
Who's gonna take minutes is an important thing.
Right.
I have done that for some of my clients. Others, they just have their administrative staff do it. It's unusual to have a board member do it.
Right.
Simply because you're engaged in the discussion of
Right.
the business of the IDA, and it's tough to take notes at the same time. So I'm doing it because I do this anyways.
Right.
But that's, that's something, again, certainly you have to respect your bylaws. And if there's something in there that you're not comfortable with, then you would want to amend that.
Right. Sure.
You have some flexibility on that. I don't mean it's known, but this is the first, I will say this in candor, this is the first entity I've worked with that doesn't have some staff. And most of them, they usually have 3 people. And they have 2 directors, they have someone who's out there doing the sales, and then they have the back person who's doing a lot of the pilot work and things like that.
Right.
And, a lot of those they're smaller than you're at.
Really? Okay. And maybe we're a product, I guess, of cheapness. What's that? Cheapness. No, not at all. I'm saying, what I think is that we're a byproduct of, this is the way things were always done. We have a CFO that was, you know what I mean? But in the past, we always had, I was the town supervisor when I sat in this seat last time. So I was in the town hall every day, right? So when we had the CFO was the person that was my budget finance administrator, which is now a person that's external, that's, you know what I mean? So I think, and then throw into the mix that there's all new board members, right? So it's creating a whole
Number of different.
challenges, I guess, so to speak,
So,
you know?
just to clarify my point, there are IDAs that are functioning within arms of government that don't have staff, that they have employees of the municipality. I think Monroe County IDA operates in it. They don't have a separate staff.
Right.
It's staffed by.
Yes, and we do the same thing, like we pay the town,
Yeah, that's right. You're
Right.
gonna share basically.
because we have some shared, right, yes. So we do have those agreements in place, but maybe it's not enough, as what David is saying, maybe we do need to explore that. Like I said, I would like to take a deeper look at it, because it's not so simple to just put an ad out and hire somebody,
No,
right?
You
So,
might have maybe one of the clerks or something
Right.
that are here might want to do something like Dave
Right.
said, now you've got half of
yeah,
the issue.
so.
So is
and
that
again,
a
I'm open to
separate
exploring it.
committee that you want to create?
That would probably, what committee would that fall under? Governance, right? So,
We did such a good job the first time, so.
right? So,
Okay, so we'll place
gonna
that in
be-
governance.
that's gonna be, yeah.
We'll
that's-
make a motion to place the topic of looking into staffing for Lida into the governance committee.
I'll second that, or Frank will second it?
Yeah.
It's gonna be,
Okay, so, yeah, I will second that officially.
okay, so seconded by Member Tadaro. Lisa, please take the roll.
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes,
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fedoli?
Yes.
And then I think it was just an inadvertent miss. I know you didn't have the agenda, but I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the correspondence that we received from Supervisor Rufino.
The letter? That's the letter. Okay, make motion, let me just read it real quick. Want me to read it loud?
Is there copies handed out, or are you going to read it?
I just have the one here from Grant. So, is that?
Yeah.
Want me to read it out loud? Read it into the minutes? Okay. Dear Chair Fedoli, at the LIDA meeting on Friday, February 11th, Derek Corp. closing fee was discussed by consultant Paul Leone. When the project was induced by the LIDA, consultant Leone suggested that due to a larger dollar amount, the project closing fee should be reduced from 1% to 0.75%. The resolution for the inducement does not reflect this decision. And then Chair of the LIDA, the 0.75% was discussed with Daniel Ronan, Vice President of Derek Corp. in good faith. I hope this satisfies the fee agreed to between the LIDA and the applicant. Kevin, to bring you up to speed real quick with this one, there was a fee that the previous supervisor had discussed with them of reducing the fee, but there was no official resolution ever adopted, right, modifying it. So we're gonna just enter this into record. We asked, Paul reached out, I think, to the supervisor to get this copy
Rufino
letter.
didn't do it. I'm
Right.
sorry, but I did it.
Right.
I took money away from you that time.
Right, so ultimately, we just wanted to have this official, that's all.
So motion to receive and
Motion to
file.
receive and file.
$7 million project.
Second by Member Reno. Lisa on the roll, please.
Member Gazzoni?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fedoli?
Yes. Okay, anything else?
I just think as we move forward, setting that agenda, it's helpful to have the topics that the committees should be working on, just as like an active kind of
that
to-do
again.
list.
I
To
didn't
have
hear
the
you.
committees listed and then the bullet points. We do this for the village and it's really effective. That it's just a running to-do list so that we know when it went into committee, and then it's a reminder to the committee chair people that this is the topic that you're working on, and we
Okay.
can kind of keep
And
things
where do
moving.
you have a template for that, or do you have something that we could use?
I could share what we use, but essentially, it lists each committee, and if something's in committee, it puts it in there with the date it was put in the committee.
When you say it puts it in there, what do you?
Any
Item,
topic.
whatever item you placed in the committee, for example.
Okay.
Personnel in the government, so it would say, staffing issues.
Okay,
And the date it was placed.
okay, could you forward that to us, please? Okay,
This proposal that we got for a computer, is that just,
yeah, I just got a copy of that now.
There was a discussion about
Yeah.
separating equipment from the town to
Right.
the Lida board.
Right.
So this was an idea, and I put it out to get a.
so placing this in unfinished business?
Okay, yeah, well, we have to review it.
Of course.
Is this something we want to put out a request for proposal, or is this something?
I would recommend it.
Right, so we'll probably have to put an RFP together for this?
Oh, yeah.
And so this is just
This is one.
this is one that you received from somebody you know, or?
This gentleman here actually is based out of Rochester, and he handles my whole company, all.
Okay. Okay, so we probably should put together, I mean, because it's $5,000, so
Sure.
I'm guessing that other proposals are going to come in right around there or similar to that.
But on the
So-
RFP, yeah, we just put an RFP to request what we're looking for and have them build out their quote
Right.
based on that.
I think too, just looking big picture, if we're talking about staffing, are we talking about, you've said it's challenging being
Yeah.
here when Lida doesn't really have a home. Like, I don't know if this all kind of falls into the bigger topic of, are we gonna buy a computer, but where are we gonna put it? Because
Right.
we don't really have a home.
That's something that we have to kind of think about here, because it's certainly, Paul, you're going to put it in your garage?
The computer?
The staff.
It's all in here. After 42 years, it's all in here. That's why you remember everything, so.
We're gonna put the staff in your garage, Paul.
The way,
No, but
I will
think
say,
that-
the way that he proposed this was to have a base computer and then a laptop that
Right.
can log in at any time on a VPN network.
Right, yeah, okay. So we need to get that, we need to put together a proposal, so, or an RFP, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So is there any way, maybe somewhere here in this building, to where we could have a cubby to kind of keep this equipment?
Well, you're gonna have to tie into the internet, and I don't know if we wanna commingle that.
Yeah.
Correct?
I mean, Joe Ligamari does does he do it for the village too? Ligamari, right? I could reach out to him to see how something like this would be set up before we move forward. So let's just receive and file this for now.
I recommend that.
Yeah, and then I'll reach out to Joe if you want. He's a good friend of mine. I know he was the tech guy when I was here, and I know he still does the stuff for the town. He probably can suggest how we can set something like that up here and have it separate from the town. Although, Kevin, do we get into issues of, what's on that computer, I guess? I mean, that's, it's public information, so it needs to be.
When I talked to Mr. Herkel, he said that we could have a main computer somewhere and that everybody would be given a login, but that if I'm on it, you can't be on it. You can view it, but you can't make changes. So only one person can be in there making a change.
Right.
The only thing is, if we have it here, there are no rooms that no one has access to. So our main computer that we would all be able to link into could be accessed,
It's a server.
yeah, by like
So
the
I think we need to
Rexons.
I think we need to think this through a little
Yeah,
bit more.
we have to figure out.
And Joe, like I said, I can talk to Joe and find out what his suggestion is, and then, we'll go from there.
Yeah, and for the record, I did request to have my email removed from the website.
Yeah,
The
my email
spam
got
is-
hacked too, and,
You got attacked, so.
yeah, my email hasn't worked in a month now. I don't know if
Do you
that's.
want information on there for people to contact?
You can put my cell phone number on there.
You want
for
that on the
Yeah,
web?
I don't care. I'm on my cell phone all day, all night, so, it doesn't matter to me, but ultimately, I would rather that because people got emails that I had.
Calls, so.
He got emails from me, and then I had other people that, got emails that I was, home with COVID, and I needed them to go out and buy me, eBay gift cards.
Yeah.
You didn't get those?
So and then literally since then, my whole email had been shut down, so I had to switch to my Gmail account because my Yahoo email just deletes emails when they come in, so it doesn't even, I don't even get them. They just automatically end up in the trash bin and then get deleted, so, yeah, so that's been an experience.
Do you
So
want your cell phone?
No. So, yeah, I don't mind if my cell phone's
Are
on
you
there.
sure?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure, because I'm literally 50 clients that text me and message me all day, 7 days a week, so, okay.
And then I know I always have the laundry list at the end. My final question is, for the village, we have a policy where only, like, I as the mayor am authorized to reach out to billable attorneys. Who can reach out to Kevin, considering it's an hourly rate?
That's a great question. I appreciate that. That is, that is up to how the board wants to handle it.
Right.
But that is really within your purview. I expect to work a lot with Paul.
Right.
Because we're working through the application process. But it's really up to you guys.
What does she want?
Who should have the authority to
Anyone
reach
you-
out to the attorney?
I think that, I guess if anybody has a question, yeah, I don't think that there needs to be a restriction that the chair needs to handle that.
Because I have the intention, if I'm authorized to, is to sit down with Kevin and go through all these policies and bring that to governance committee to say, this is what but that's gonna
Yeah.
be time, and I don't want all of a sudden the board to see billable hours that I'm,
Rightfully.
Yeah, no, I think that's,
There's gonna be some time involved.
right.
Yeah, I agree, she's gonna
Yeah,
be spending
right.
some time doing it, but it's
Right.
needed.
Right, it's necessary though, and ultimately, I think moving forward, once that's cleaned up and accomplished, it'll be done. It's not something you're gonna be doing every week for, a
so
year,
we are
but-
all authorized to call
Yeah,
him.
again, I don't think, well, I would imagine if they have questions, ultimately, how much interaction do you have with other boards, Kevin?
You know, in terms of between meetings,
Yeah.
not a lot.
Right.
To be honest, it doesn't, it's once in a while, a board member might call and say, hey, what's going on with this particular project?
Right.
We're looking at next month.
Tino, usually I get the phone calls.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think it's an issue where we need to say it has to come through me. I think if you guys have questions, I'm okay with that anyways.
You know, I think, answering, that kind of straight question, those kind of things, I don't think that's a real issue. I think what the mayor is referring to, though, where I'm tasked to do a project.
Yes.
Right? Hey,
Right.
go look at this, go look at that, what's this, then that becomes something else.
Yes.
And you have to figure out how you want to manage it. I just want to make sure that I have the right communications with you as well. So, again, I appreciate the question because it helps me.
Right.
In terms of how
Right.
we can help you guys.
Well, I think for this one instance, I mean, do we need to, I don't think we need to vote on it, I think, but.
I think just for the
ultimately
board
this-
to understand, so do we want to appoint one person per committee to be the liaison if there's work to be done within?
We could do that. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary.
I guess
but-
I would like the authority to be able to reach out to Kevin to talk through governance and make sure that we're getting into compliance and set a plan to propose to the board to figure out the timeline of how we will get into
Yeah,
compliance.
and I don't think anybody has a
Okay.
problem with that, right?
I agree.
They're one-off things, I don't think, right, I don't think they're.
I agree because,
You know.
we want, ultimately, Kevin, you're gonna look at all of these policies eventually and assure us that we're where we need to be.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Now, is there any problem, because I would probably be the one to work with you the next month with the resolutions. Do I have to, is that okay? I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna call him anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, I think Kevin knows that.
I'll tell you that right now, I'm gonna call him anyhow.
He needs a separate
Okay.
account.
You must have a paralegal too, right?
no,
That's
that's
it?
it, thank you.
Sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Anybody else got anything to add?
I
No? People want to get out of here?
Make a motion.
Make a motion to close?
Yeah, make a motion, we close the meeting.
Motion by Member Reno.
All right,
I'll
Second by Member Tadaro on this one. Lisa on the roll, please.
Member Gazzani?
Yes.
Member Lee Master?
Yes.
Member Reno?
Yes.
Member Ruda?
Yes.
Member Tadaro?
Yes.
Chair Fidoli?
Yes. Why was this, Lisa, why was this given to me?
That came in the, I don't know what to do with it, so I figure I'll give it to you. If it's throw it out, throw it out.
Yes, it's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
It's a fundraiser.
Jesse McConnell, it's not addressed to me, so I don't want to
Yeah.
open it.
Yeah.
So,
But it was addressed to Jesse for the idea. I can get it to him and he can send it back.
I get the same one.
Yeah.
It's just a fundraiser.
Yeah, it's fundraiser for sheriff.
I drop it in his mailbox.
He's my client. I can always give him a call and be like, hey, stop at the office. Or the fire station.